for everybody to say what an important day it is, and then I'm going to hand over to you.
Oh, right. Okay.
So you're going to help set the scene,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to call it on.
Right. Good.
Yes.
Great.
So pretty much straight away, okay?
Oh, no,
Alright,
that,
yes.
that way you get that.
Correct,
Yeah.
Antoinette.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased we could accommodate you. And next year, how about you guys organise to have the male and female one? Because there's a male and female part to it, but they hadn't written out the male. So Antoinette's going to read the whole lot because they hadn't had the time to put the male part in there.
Yes.
So that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Righto.
All right.
Yeah,
Run the ball.
no problem. That's easy.
It's not going to start on time. It never does.
roof in here. These guys will show you what to do. Yeah. I said some people can go in the booths. Yeah, we represent you.
That's gold. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to St John's on this very significant day, very sad and reflective day for us. And as we gather, we acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Yagara and Turrbal people. And one of the conversations we're having here at St John's is how do we begin the process of paying reparations, because this land and the land on which any of us live has been nicked. So thank you for coming. It's our privilege to host this very special occasion, and to set the scene, it's my pleasure to welcome on your behalf those families who've been affected by deaths at work. We pay our personal respects and condolences to you. This is a tough day for you. Also welcome Michael Ravbar, who's the CFMEU Queensland Northern Territory Branch Secretary, and Jane Ingham, the Assistant Secretary of the CFMEU Queensland Northern Territory. To set the scene for us, a member of one of the affected families, Antoinette James, is going to read a poem called The Plan. Thank you, Antoinette.
The plan. I am your mother, father, sister, brother, child, partner, lover, friend. Today I plan to take a walk, see a friend, tell a joke, give a smile, pay a bill, play a game, take a ride, kiss a cheek, hug a child. I didn't plan to die today, but I did. I planned to go to work, build a bridge, pave a road, fix a pipe, teach a class, save a life, paint a room, write reports, enter data, work the line, wire buildings, walk the iron, erect the steel. I didn't plan to die today, but I did. Please think of me just once today as you fulfil your plans. I am your mother, father, sister, brother, child, lover, friend. I didn't plan to die today, but I did. Let's all work towards a safer and healthier workplace for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Antoinette. And now we're going to hear from Michael Ravbar, CFMEU Queensland Northern Territory Branch Secretary. Thank you, Michael.
Firstly, I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we meet on. I want to pay my respect to their leaders past, present and emerging. Also, any other First Nations people here today. I also want to pay my respects. This is First Nations land, always will be. Also, I want to acknowledge the affected families group that are here today. Is that this union and the families had a very long relationship for many years. Is that just hearing that poem today, I was listening to those very powerful words, is that it is very emotional. It is a very emotional day in general. It's a very important day, not just for everyone in attendance today, but across the world. And I just want to really congratulate these amazing, phenomenal people for all the work that you do. So thank you. First of all, See, usually I don't get emotional, it won't be, that's unusual. But for everyone in this church here today, welcome to International Workers' Memorial Day. Today is a time to remember and reflect on all the workers who have never returned home after finishing their shift for the day. It's a day to remember the dead and fight for the living. Governments won't silence us, greedy bosses won't beat us, and we won't stop remembering the thousands of Australians who have needlessly lost their lives during their working day. Over the past year, there has been an increase, unfortunately, in work-related deaths in Queensland. If you look at Australia-wide, it's 1 every 2 workers per day. Every 2 days is killed in Australia. Poor safety costs lives. For me, for those at the service who have lost loved ones, 1 death is 1 too many. Today is a reminder that there is always more we can do to keep our workers safe. Every death is a failure of some sort due to a poor work safety procedure, a lack of training, fatigue or budget cuts. These are almost always preventable. That's why our union will never be silent on improving health and safety standards, laws and regulations. The time is right to improve our workplace health and safety laws, and this union campaigned the Palaszczuk government to review the laws in the second half of this year, which they did, and that was concluded in December last year. Why you ask this is because health and safety laws that once were the best in the country are now no longer so. And we all must never forget, and we must always improve workplace health and safety laws at all workplaces. The review was completed, as I mentioned earlier, in December last year, and we have been informed that the review and the changes will be publicly released. And the government is keen to make the changes needed to ensure our laws are the best again in this country. A word of caution though, whilst that sounds very exciting, the news and promising, the governments are great with the announcements but poor on the delivery. However, what we do commit here today, and what we will commit everywhere we go, is that we'll make sure the government does do the right thing and ensure that the new laws, when they do come in, do improve the lives of workers and also the community at hand. If they don't, is that we will campaign against governments if they do not do the right thing. So therefore, to maintain safe workplaces is one that is fought on a daily basis by our union and by our members who work in the industry, and one we must never resile from. So as to remember those who've never returned home, I urge you, keep the faith, stand up, speak out, come home. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Nick Thompson, who's the CEO of Mates in Construction. Thanks, Mick. Nick.
I'd like to begin by acknowledging the first people of this place and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Since time immemorial, Meanjin has held the stories and traditions of people. Connection to country in this place revolves around the stories of the brown snake of Maiwar that cuts through the country's landscape. Maiwar reminds us of the running waters that bring us nourishment and renewal. I acknowledge the Very Reverend Dr. Peter Catt, Jade and Michael from the CFMEU, effective family members, union delegates, union members, community and family that today pause to reflect. Together we reflect in a time of great change at a community level in a post-COVID world. Incremental change attached to the safety at work, however, in our day-to-day lives can often feel small and slow. This small change may seem insignificant as a single step. In the marathon that is the labour movement, in the marathon that is the work towards workers' rights, and the broader social movement that encompasses safety, these small steps are not only necessary, they are immeasurable and sacred. The small but sacred steps of delegates, members, safety representatives, everyday on-sites feed into this marathon that we're all running together. The sacred steps that affected family members take in opening up hurts, in campaigning for change, in moving legislation forward, in creating safer workplaces and honouring those that they have lost. They are not small, sacred steps. They are gargantuan leaps that we collectively honour here today in solidarity and collectively walk beside you in this journey, this marathon that is grief. In running this race, we will face adversity. It comes and goes, good days and bad. And in facing this fight, we have to turn to what we know helps us get us through. For younger members of our community, we have to honour those who have gone before us, who've run this race and learnt the lessons of pace and endurance. I pay tribute today to John Brady and Jorgen Gullestrup, two men who have shown me the path on this marathon when I haven't even known I was lost. Two men who are elite athletes who have shown me the lessons they too have learnt in this role that I currently hold. These lessons revolve around one common and ever-present theme: solidarity. Solidarity is being present. Solidarity is holding space. Solidarity in the silence, in the gentle listening and time. Solidarity and collective action in fighting those who get lost along the way. Solidarity for those who need holding up because they feel like they can't go on, who are tired of the race. This deep sense of connection, togetherness, mateship, and faith in each other is how we finish this marathon together. It's the secret that helps us go on. A marathon we don't necessarily win, but a marathon that we can get through together. Recently, in developing a new program, a program to support construction workers after a critical incident, I met with over 20 construction workers who've been on this marathon in our industry for 10 to 40 years between them. Together we heard from their experiences of grief, of trauma, of adversity. We didn't call it that. I don't think they'd consider it that. But as a mental health social worker, that is very much my view of what it is. Together we opened up about the realities of post-incident support, safety at work, and the often silent steps they've taken on this journey. A journey they sometimes felt wouldn't end, and that at times felt like no one was running alongside them. One member had been to over 40 funerals of workmates, colleagues, friends, and industry members. He was and is an elite athlete in this marathon. Whilst I knew him before this program as a reliable, humorous, and strong advocate for his workmates, I didn't realise the journey that he'd been on and continues to be on and work through because of his experience. The lesson we can all learn from this is that everybody, no matter their exterior, is running a marathon. As a movement in honouring these sacred steps, it's okay to look back at where you've been. It's okay to pause and reflect, as we do today, on the paths that went the wrong way, the paths that caused us immeasurable hurt and pain, and the paths we are still on, sometimes lost, but putting one foot in front of the other. It's okay to do this because in doing so, we have a collective we can rely on. A collective that is here for us. A collective that walks alongside and honours these sacred steps, being present, ready to listen and learn. This small act of listening to these 20 workers reaffirmed to me the importance of understanding collectivism. It reaffirmed that this marathon journey takes more than superficial understandings of who people are in this race. It takes guts, courage, and careful understanding to know that each individual might appear as a great athlete, but they've had to learn the sacred steps to get to where they are today. As we face these sacred steps together, we reflect on the journey so far. Let's do it together. Let's not be afraid to look back in order to move forward. Let's take the real lessons in the complexities of individuals that present to us as tough, seasoned athletes, but who hold scars of wrong turns on the path, and treat them with care and compassion. But most of all, as we reflect, let's keep solidarity, collectivism, and support for each other as the secret to getting through this race.
Thanks, Nick. We're now going to hear from Julie Sager, and Julie is a member of one of the affected families. Thank you, Julie.
Wow. We're the very proud parents of Adam. Adam was 25 and he died from mesothelioma, which is an asbestos-related disease. In 2006, I received a phone call in the middle of the night to say, "I'm not coming home tonight, I'm in hospital." Adam was living in Brisbane and we were living in Cairns, and he was living his life as any 24-year-old should be doing. He was a big, tall, 6'4" man living his life, studying, practicing for martial arts. He was getting ready to go to the World Championships for his martial arts. And by the time I got down here 3 days later, he was a curled up little mess laying in the back seat of a car. That started 7 weeks of tests and poking and prodding and laughing and crying before they told us that Adam had malignant mesothelioma and then he'd be dead in 6 months. Malignant mesothelioma is pretty ugly. It's a cancer that grows in between the lining of the lung and the pleura. It's a bit like peanut butter on a sponge. Eventually, it moved to Adam's heart, moved his heart across, pushed his esophagus and his throat, and he couldn't breathe. He was on permanent oxygen. He couldn't go to the toilet himself. He couldn't shower himself. His dad had to do that for him. No 25-year-old would like that to happen. In 1983, Don and I were newly married and we had a little baby, and they gave us the keys to our first home. It was a kit home and we sanded the walls thinking we were saving some money. So those walls were made of asbestos and there was no warning on that. Actually, that's a lie. There was a warning. The warning was inside the walls. It was a prefabricated home, so there was nothing on the outside. So we thought we were doing the right thing. New subdivision. Not only was he with us, but we locked the doors to make sure he was safe and couldn't get out. He had a lovely, happy childhood, was a rambunctious, funny, naughty, beautiful child, talented sportsman, a good brother, a good son, had a beautiful girlfriend and was living his life. So for us, 1983 was the beginning of what we thought was a perfect world. We've since learnt that that's not so right. Don and I now have this uncontrollable urge that it's our job to try and help people stay safe. It's a little different to going to work and not coming home, and my heart goes out to you when that happens. Because we got to say goodbye. So there's no real comparison with that. But we have an obligation as a community to keep each other safe, whether it be going to work on a mine site, going to work in a construction site, traffic control, electrician, plumber, tradesman, handyman, cleaner, anything, office worker. We have an obligation to each other and to ourselves and to the person beside us to not only have safe work practices for ourselves but for the next person, and to be sure that they're not just safe but they're right. They can be safe and they can be wrong. They can be safe for today but not safe for tomorrow. So we have an obligation as people and as a community to make sure that this happens. It's really easy to say you've got to die of something. Believe me, when you're on the other end of this, it's not cool. There is nothing cool about burying your child or your loved one or your husband or your wife or your friend. There is nothing good about this. Adam will never, ever walk down the aisle towards his Lani. She has 2 beautiful children named after him. They have his initials. He has 2 beautiful nephews that don't know him. And tomorrow we get together at the regatta because it'll be 16 years since he closed his eyes for the last time. And that never goes away. So I can only urge you to keep each other safe, whether it be in any of those occupations. We're now facing silicosis, any other dust diseases, and that's what I know about. All of this is so new, and it's something that we just can't shake. When Adam died, they were dealing with 600 cases a year, and that's all they knew about. That were people that were being reported. Now it's 700. This is supposed to be diminishing, not increasing. So we have to be vigilant and make sure that if we think something's unsafe, that we're brave enough to stand up and say, this isn't right. I don't need to do this. We need to encourage the hierarchy to be able to take that on the chin and say, yes, you're right, let's do something else. Let's make sure that those practices are safe. And our young apprentices look after them when they say, I'm not sure about this. How do I do this safely? And if it is safe, encourage them to speak up and say, you've done the right thing, but this is how we work with this. We couldn't save Adam, but maybe we and you can save the next person, and maybe over the years we won't have to do this. And this turnout is incredible, but to be honest, I don't ever want to see this. It's disgusting, and it's something that should never ever happen. It's beautiful that we pay homage to these people, but we should never have to be here. So thank you. Adam would thank you. Your support that we get as a affected families committee is incredible, and our job is to lead a group of people that don't want to be in the same room as one another, but know it's a really safe space, and we'll do what we can to help out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your bravery. Relatedly, we're now going to hear from Phil Blair from the Asbestos Disease Support Service. Thanks, Phil.
In welcoming all of you here today, I'd first like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we will meet, the Jagera and Turrbal people, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. My name is Phil Blair. I'm a trainer with the CFMU. We deliver training on sites with silica, asbestos, and trying to get that knowledge out there to the workers. I'm also a director with the Asbestos Disease Support Society and that operates the Silicosis Support Network. I'm honoured to be speaking on behalf of the Asbestos Disease Support Society and the Silicosis Support Network. Today we pause and remember those who have died from preventable related injuries or illnesses. The International Labour Association estimates that around 2.3 million people around the world die in workplace incidents every year. Take a moment to think about that figure. That is over 6,000 preventable deaths every day. Hazardous substances such as asbestos, silica are estimated to cause over 650,000 deaths worldwide each year. The World Health Organisation has declared that there is no safe level of exposure to asbestos, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Even though we've stopped importing and using asbestos in the mid-80s, Australia still has one of the highest rates of asbestos disease in the world. Asbestos is still the most common dust killer in Australia, with an average of 4,000 people dying from asbestos and dust-related diseases every year. That's almost 4 times our national road toll. 1 person dies every 12 hours from mesothelioma, which is an incurable cancer caused by asbestos exposure. Sadly, 2 people are diagnosed every 48 hours. Only 6.4% of those people diagnosed will survive for 4 years after diagnosis. We now have the epidemic of silicosis, and this is not just a stone benchtop issue, it is also and will occur on our job sites. It can and will affect you on your sites. Silicosis is an incurable disease, takes about 5 years to impact someone's life and render them physically incapable of doing their job and doing all activities, daily living, and we take for granted. The impact on the worker and their families is catastrophic. Unlike many workplace incidents, the effects of dust are not instant. It may take years, even decades, for the disease to take hold. The Asbestos Disease Support Society, with the support of the CFMEU, continues to lobby all levels of government to try to ensure safety of workers, to improve safety so everyone comes home safe and lives long and healthy lives. Each of the workers we honour here today left home to go to work one day, expecting to return as usual. It is difficult to accept they could be taken from us so suddenly in a preventable incident. All workplace fatalities or illnesses are tragic and unacceptable. We must always strive to make the workplace safer and healthier. We must ensure that every worker is alert to every potential danger or health risk they are faced with. We must stand up, never be silent. The only acceptable rate of fatality, injury or illness is 0. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. We now turn to our time of remembering, and we're going to be led in that by Jade Ingham, who's the Assistant State Secretary of the CFMEU.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. So today we remember those that have passed, and we make that pledge again to fight for those that are living. I want to say thank you to Julie and to all the affected families for your courage, not only every year at this event, but your tireless work throughout the year to fight for justice and to ensure that in tragedy, that some good may come out of it into the future, and hopefully save the heartache for families and friends in the future. And you are an inspiration to us, and we are so proud of our relationship with you. That is a long-standing relationship, and Nick before spoke about something called solidarity. As a trade unionist, this is a familiar thing to us. We know what solidarity means. It means that we come together in times of sadness, we come together in times of struggle, and we come together to use our collective, sometimes pain, but our collective thinking and our collective strength to affect change for the future. And that's why today is such an important day in the calendar of everyone here and of trade unionists generally. It's a very special day to us. And if you're like me, you've been sitting here today listening to some of these speeches, thinking about the people that you've lost, thinking about the workmates, the friends, the family that got up and went to work one day like we do. Most of us in the dark, creeping around the house, trying to not wake up your family. And then they didn't come home at the end of that day. You know, and I'm sure you'll be thinking about friends and family that are in that situation. So I want to say, you know, so firstly, thank you to the affected families. Thank you to the Asbestos Disease Support Society for the important work that you do. Thank you, Reverend, for allowing us around at your joint to commemorate this very important day in our calendar. We do have to keep coming together every year because if we stop doing this, then the people that are taken from us have died in vain. This is what solidarity looks like. We spoke before about laws and regulators, and it's important that we have good, strong laws to protect people, and it's important that we have a good, strong regulator who does their job to enforce those laws. And in my view, we have neither of those things in Queensland. We need better laws, and we need a regulator that is prepared to enforce the laws, and we will continue to fight for that. But more importantly than all of that is the fact that people protect people. It's each other that looks after your workmates on the job, that support each other to say no, to have the confidence to say no, to have the confidence to refuse to go into an area of the job that is not safe, and to back your mates when they're being asked to do the same thing. That's what we do as unionists. And so it's people that protect people. Laws and regulators are important, but it's people that do the real work. And we know it's a fact of life that if you're lucky enough to go and work on a union job, a job where there is a union presence, then you are a much better chance of going home to your family at the end of the day. That is a fact. And so part of our pledge that we make every year is we strive to make all jobs union jobs. All jobs, all workers should enjoy the same safety standards and no less. There aren't any second-class workers. And so, again, we make that pledge every year as trade unionists. We remember those that have been taken from us, and we pledge to fight for the living. And it's those little moments that count. It's those times when you're on the job and maybe you're not in a site meeting, maybe you're on your own with one or two other workers in a little corner of the job, and the boss has asked you to do something that you know is not right and you know you're not happy with. And we ask that everybody in those circumstances stands by each other, puts their faith in each other, and has the confidence to say no. Because that's the only way that we will save lives, is when people protect people. So now we pause to reflect on those workers that are connected to our industry, to the building industry, and it's not to take away the other tragedies of workers in other industries that have been killed in the last 12 months. But now we pause to reflect on those that are associated with our industry. And so as I do this, I ask that those workers responsible in the room come up and lay a hard hat in remembrance. Male, aged 76, project builder. Male, aged 42, construction office support worker. Male, age 16, plant operator. Male, age 69, concreter. Male, age 54, roof tiler. Male, aged 52, roof tiler. And a total of 52 asbestos disease sufferers. And so again, I say thank you for everybody's attendance today, in particular affected families and especially all of the workers, the men and women that have walked off the job today to participate in this important day in our calendar. Don't make it all about the 1 hour that we've spent here in this ceremony. It's about what you do when you go back to work Tuesday, next week, the following week and in the months and all throughout the next year. That's what counts, is the work that you do when we leave here. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jade. I invite you all to stand so that we can enter into a time of reflection as a mark of respect. I invite you to use the minute that follows as a time of prayer and reflection, time of dedication. Whatever your tradition is or your spirituality, to use it as a time to exercise a sense of solidarity and the opportunity to increase your resolve for your anger to be harvested in a way that is constructive and transformative. Now invite members of affected families to lay flowers. Members of the ADSS.
Didn't know today would be our last, or that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb I can't feel anymore. I'm praying you just walk back through that door and tell me that I was only
Branch secretaries
dreaming.
and guest speakers.
You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on.
Anyone else who
tight.
wishes to lay a flower, please
It's
come
not
forward.
my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small, and you were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight, singing hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Didn't know today would be our last, or that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb I can't feel anymore. Don't tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small, and you were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight, singing hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight.
Thank you for your presence today. Go in peace. with courage, determination and solidarity. Thank you. And please stay on for morning tea.